Alright, what's up? It's Saturday Football, and it's Richie here with your primetime college football games. This should be shorter, there's only 10 of them. Start with the 7:30 game, Ohio State-Nebraska. Ohio State's coming off a 76-5 win over Miami of Ohio. Justin Fields, Heisman candidate, 223 passing, 4 touchdowns, plus 36 rushings, and 2 more touchdowns. They ran for 227, they had 601 yards of offense. Their defense had 5 sacks, 3 turnovers, and only allowed 130 total yards. Whereas Nebraska went back and forth with Illinois before beating them 42-38. Adrian Martinez, 327 passing, 3 touchdowns, plus 118 yards rushing. They ran for 346. Wide receiver J.D. Spielman, 7 catches, 159. They did put up 673 yards of offense, but they turned it over 4 times, and their defense only allowed 299. They need to not turn it over all that much and play lights out against Ohio State. A lot of people are going to see this as a trendy upset pick coming into the season. I would have said yes, Nebraska, but Ohio State's look way too good, so I got Ohio State here. All right, NC State and FSU, this should be even. NC State's coming off a decent win against Ball State, 34-23. Ball State actually has a really good offense. Matthew McKay only 175 passing and threw an interception, but he did run for 2 touchdowns. They ran from 186 as a team. However, they were outgained 417-371. Where FSU has a good offense but can't keep leads. They were up 21-0 against Louisville. Louisville came back to take a 24-21 lead, and then FSU ended up winning 35-24. And then Alex Hornibrook, a transfer from Wisconsin, stepped in for Blackman. Blackman, his numbers looked okay, but he just couldn't move it well. But Hornibrook came in, passed for 255, 2 touchdowns. K-Makers got going a little bit, ran for 112 with 3 touchdowns. They put up 522 offense. Their defense had 6 sacks, but they allowed 410 yards. I think this should be a close game, could be a shootout. I think, I'm not sure who to go with here. I don't want FSU to win, but I'm kind of leaning FSU. Alright, then you got Kentucky and South Carolina, both coming off disappointing losses. Kentucky lost 28-13 to Mississippi State. Sawyer Smith was 15 of 41, which is terrible. 232 threw an interception. Asim Rose ran for 105 yards. Lynn Bowden had 7 catches for 129, but didn't do a whole lot on defense or anything. Whereas South Carolina lost to Missouri 34-14. Quarterback Ryan Helinski finally looked like a true freshman. He was only 13 of 30, 166 a touchdown and a pick. They only had 16 rushing yards in the game. Brian Edwards had a nice game, 6 catches, 113, and a touchdown. They only had 271 yards of offense. They turned it over 3 times. The defense forced 2 turnovers, but they gave up 421 yards. However, I'm kind of leaning South Carolina here, but this should be even. Colorado State and Utah State, shootout galore. Shootout galore right here. Colorado State lost 41-35 to Toledo. Patrick O'Brien threw for 405 yards, a touchdown and pick. Marvin Kinsey ran for 246 and 2 touchdowns. Warren Jackson had 12 catches, 132 and a touchdown. They put up 694 yards of offense. However, they had 11 penalties in the game, and their defense did give up 547 yards to Toledo in the loss. Whereas Utah State had a nice rugged win against San Diego State, which I kind of thought. Utah State normally has a really good offense, but San Diego State normally has a really good defense, and that's kind of what happened here. Utah State won 23-17. Jordan Love he passed for 293, but didn't have any scores. However, the defense is what kind of Utah State's defense is what won this game. They had 4 sacks and a pick 6 in there. I expect this to be a shootout. I'm not even sure who to go with here. I just like Utah State a little better, but it might be Colorado State. Who the hell knows? This could be in the 50s. UNLV against Wyoming. UNLV is coming off a bye. Their last game was a loss to Northwestern, 30-14. They didn't have a whole lot going for them. Charles Williams, he ran for 144 yards and 2 touchdowns. Their quarterback Armani Rogers, he can run quite a bit, so they can get a running game going. They ran for 210 as a team. However, they had 3 turnovers in that loss. Whereas Wyoming lost a close game to Tulsa, which I figured would be close. They lost only 24-21. Sean Chambers was only 9 for 25, which he's got to get that way up. But they were fit for big yardage, 193 passing, a touchdown, and added 83 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns on the ground. Their defense had 7 sacks in that game, and that's what kept it close. This should be an interesting game. Wyoming normally plays a pretty good defense, very much a ball control offense. I'll go. Oh man, I'm thinking UNLV. I'll go UNLV. UNLV. All right, Fresno, New Mexico State. Another possible shootout. Fresno kind of struggled with 1AA with Sacramento State. He only beat them 34-20. It was closer than that. However, Sacramento State did play Arizona State well a few weeks ago, so they could just be a pretty good 1AA team. Fresno's quarterback Jorge ran it 326 and 2 touchdowns. They put up 471 yards of offense. They turned it over twice, but the defense only allowed 245. Whereas New Mexico State lost in a awesome game to their in-state rival New Mexico. They lost 55-52. Quarterback Josh Adkins put up 6 total touchdowns. 335 passing, 3 touchdowns, plus 32 rushing yards and 3 more on the ground. Jason Huntley ran for 114 and a touchdown. Navion Mitchell had 4 catches for 105. They put up 489 yards, but they allowed 598. I expect this to go back and forth, but I'm going to give Fresno the edge here. Houston and North Texas. This would be good, except North Texas is weird. They're coming off a loss. They lost 38-31 to Tulane on an incredible last-second touchdown by Tulane. However, De'Aaron King, their quarterback for Houston, he's redshirting this year. He's going to play next year. Bizarre thing. In that game, he put up 229, 2 touchdowns and a pick, ran for 116 and a touchdown. They did run for 304 yards. They put up 533 total. Their defense had 4 sacks but allowed 511. Clayton Tune is going to get the start for the remainder of the season. He started a couple of games last year. They can still move it. It's still a good offense, but they're facing North Texas, so another one of the best offenses. They're coming off a 45-3 win over Texas San Antonio. Mason Fine, 195, 2 touchdowns. Trey Siggers ran for 143, 2 touchdowns. They ran for 290 as a team. They had 501 yards. The defense had 3 sacks and 4 turnovers. I still think this will be a shootout, but now without King, I'm going to go North Texas here. Wazoo taking on Utah. Wazoo had one of those bizarre freaking collapses in history that I've ever seen. They were up on UCLA 49-17 with 6:52 to go in the third quarter, right? They're up 32 points halfway through the third quarter. Anthony Gordon was on fire. Anthony Gordon ended up with 570 yards passing, 9 touchdown passes, 2 interceptions. Max Borghi ran for 123, had 80 receiving yards and a touchdown. Easop Winston, 10 catches, 114, 4 touchdowns. Washington State put up 720 yards. However, they turned it over 6 times. They allowed a punt return touchdown and a kick return touchdown, and allowed UCLA to come all the way back to beat them 67-63. Wazoo lost that game. They're taking off Utah. Utah was also upset by USC, but they lost more conventional, 30-23. This is kind of back and forth. Tyler Huntley passed for 210 and a touchdown, ran for 60. They ran for 247 as a team. They put up 457 yards. Their defense had 2 turnovers, and they only had 13 rushing yards, but USC passed all over them and ended up winning. I don't know who to go with this one. I'm leaning Wazoo, Washington, because clearly they can put up the points, but man, their defense just totally just... A part of it was the UCLA got a couple quick scores with special teams and a 94-yard touchdown pass. And then I don't think Utah's a really good defense, but I don't see Washington State turning it over 6 times again. And plus, Utah showed they give up a lot of passing. USC has the air raid offense going from Graham Harrell, who's their offensive coordinator, who used to be the quarterback back 10 years ago at Texas Tech under Mike Leach. Mike Leach is the coach for Washington State. I expect Washington State then to start passing all over them, and I'll give Washington State the win here. All right, going into talking about UCLA, they're facing Arizona. Everything I said about the UCLA-Washington State game, just look at that. However, Dorian Thompson-Robinson was on the winning edge on this one. He passed for 507, 5 touchdowns, ran for 57 more and 2 touchdowns. Demetric Felton, 7 catches, 150 yards, 2 touchdowns. He had the 94-yard touchdown reception and the 100-yard kick return for a touchdown. And they had a punt return touchdown. Chase Cota had 4 catches, 147 and a touchdown. They put up 657. Their defense forced the 6 turnovers to get them in the game, but they did give up the 720 yards. Whereas Arizona's they're facing a really good quarterback in Khalil Tate, Arizona. They're coming off a bye, but the last game was a win, 28-14 over Texas Tech. Tate didn't have a great game passing, 185, 1 touchdown, threw 2 picks, but he ran for 129 and a touchdown. They ran for 314 as a team. They had 499 yards, but they turned it over 3 times. This could be another shootout here, but I'm gonna give this slight edge. I mean, maybe that UCLA comeback should change their fortunes under Chip Kelly, but I'll go Arizona here until UCLA proves it a little more. And then the nightcap should be a shootout here. Hawaii taking on Nevada. Hawaii beat 1AA Central Arkansas 35-16. Cole McDonald 300 yards, 4 touchdown passes. Jared Smart 8 catches, 121 and a touchdown. But they did turn it over 4 times, so they need to knock that down because Nevada can score. They did have a pick 6 in that game, whereas Nevada came off a so-so win over UTEP 37-21. Christian Solano played for Carson Strong. Solano had a nice game, 182 passing, 2 touchdowns and a pick, and added 100 rushing yards. They ran for 200 as a team. They put up 403. Their defense had 3 sacks, 3 turnovers. They only allowed 278. This week, Carson Strong, the freshman, is going to start, but it seems like they have 2 good quarterbacks there. I expect this to go back and forth. As long as Cole McDonald doesn't turn it over a bunch of times, which he's thrown like 9 or something interceptions this year or whatever, then I think Hawaii should win. So those are my prime time previews. Go check out my other previews and everything. Like, subscribe, share, everything. Peace.